short, first day of surgery, not knowing what the hell I'm doing, I get kicked out of the OR.
God.
It feels like I got put in time out.
You kind of did.
What's up, buddy?
Dude, how's it going?
Yeah, man, the surgery's been really great.
Why do you say it like that?
You know, it's a super great rotation. You know, you're in there for 12 hours a day. You learn a lot, actually.
Yeah.
But it's a really, like, opportune time to mess up.
What do you mean?
Alright, so first case, I scrub into the OR. First of all, you're a student, you feel really useless. So my only role was to suction smoke. It's a breast biopsy, right?
Okay.
So they're cutting into breast tissue and you have to go through a lot of fat. And they're like, hey, like, do you want to suction smoke? I'm like, okay, so this like Unga boonga, a caveman can do this.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm like, okay, poking the suction into smoke, and they're like, okay, come around and, you know, get on the other side. In order to maintain a sterile environment, once you're scrubbed in and everything, the only part of you that's sterile is, like, shoulder to, like, waist.
Yeah, the OR is, like, really intense when it comes to, like, maintaining, like, sterility.
Speaking of, like, this square only being, like, the sterile part, like, as I'm walking around the patient, I drop my hands.
Oh, no.
Yeah, and the attending at the corner of her eye goes, you're not sterile, go change out. But she's like, actually, as a matter of fact, we're almost done with the case, you can just hop out. I go from the simple role of suctioning up smoke to being kicked out of the OR, very first case.
What?
Very first impression on my attending.
You got kicked out of the OR
So,
on your first day of surgery.
In short, first day of surgery, not knowing what the hell I'm doing, I get kicked out of the OR.
God.
It feels like I got put in time out.
You kind of did. You dropped your hands.
Yeah,
You're like, get out.
I dropped my hands. And now I compulsively, I'm just like, okay, we're locking.
Yes.
And we're putting it here.
Yeah.
And this is how I'm walking.
So when you're in the OR, the last thing you want to do is put your hands where it is not sterile. And there's like two rule of thumbs. You can either put your hands at your chest or you can put your hands on the patient. Yeah. But anywhere else, you're just like breaking the sterile field. It's pretty intense. I think the only thing that might be worse than breaking your own sterile field is breaking someone else's sterile field, which I did twice.
I haven't done that yet.
I did it twice in 1 week.
Okay, so you're gonna have to explain this.
So basically, like we said, it's very easy to break the sterile field, right? You don't want to touch other people when you are sterile, but there's a couple times where you do need to, like, help someone, you know, scrub in and kind of dress into the sterile field. And twice I messed that up in a single week. So the first time, the scrub tech, who's always the first person to scrub into any case.
Yeah, because they're handling the tools.
They're handling the tools. Yeah. They're getting the, you know, the sterile field ready. They're getting all the tools ready. And there's this kind of unspoken thing when the scrub tech scrubs in, their back isn't like, you know, tied up, right?
Yeah,
because you can't touch your own ties and tie yourself up. Someone else has to do it, right?
Yeah.
So I see like his neck strap isn't, you know, put together.
The neck Velcro.
The Velcro. And then, you know, his back tie's not tied. That's something that someone else always has to do. Someone who's not sterile has to do, right? And so I see it and I'm like, I'm gonna be a good med student.
That's your first mistake.
That was my first mistake, was trying to be helpful as a medical student, and then you just mess everything up after that. So I'm like, all right, I'm gonna be a good guy, you know, I'm just gonna go up to, you know, walk up right behind him, and I'm gonna put his Velcro together and tie him up. And I did. Okay. Successfully tied him up from the back.
So where's the mess up?
So the mess up happens where there's one more tie at your waist. Basically what happens is you have these two strings and they're kind of like inserted into this like paper card. So what you do is basically you take one string in one hand and then you rip it off from the card and you're holding the card in the other hand. You hand the card to someone else, someone who is not sterile, and they take the card from your hand, which is attached to your other string, and then while holding your string, you spin around and then you take your other string, not the card, because the card is not sterile, because you handed it to someone who's not sterile, and you pull your other string out, and now you're holding both strings, sterile, tie them together, and you're still sterile, right?
This is a pretty simple process once you get the hang of it.
Yes, and I've had like, you know, 4 weeks of surgery before this rotation, so I have the hang of it, right? He does the whole thing, he spins around, he's got the string in one hand, I have the card. I don't know what happened, I brain farted, I've never made this mistake, but for some reason in my head I go, oh, he's handing me his string.
No.
All I have is one job. All I have to do is pull the card.
Pull the card.
So that he can tie himself. There was like a second, like there was a lapse. Like I just like look at the string he's holding, and I just reach out and I just grab it. I just, my bare hands. I don't know why I did that. Like it was one of those moments where just like the moment I did it, I was like, oh, why did I just do that? Like, I don't know why. And now the scrub tech is desterialized.
So did he just like rip off his gown?
Dude, he looked at me with like complete disbelief and goes, come on, dude. So like disappointed. And the very next day, I was trying to help one of the attendings scrub in, and he hands me his card. He spins around, and he spun around so fast that the card just flew out of my hand and hit him right in the gown. And he just goes, God! Like, it was an emergency surgery, so he was rushing to scrub in, hands me his card, turns around, card flies out of my grip. I just had a weak grip on it. I don't know, I was nervous. And then he just swings down and hits him.
It's his mistake for trusting a med student.
Exactly. Yeah, don't trust us with anything. All right, let's go get some coffee.
Yeah, let's get some coffee.
I'm in the drive-through with my coffee, dude. Can I get a large cold brew? We're getting coffee. Hey, let's go.
Coffee.
Coffee. Cheers.
Cheers.
Oh my gosh. Hi, Chip. Oh my gosh.
Shoot, you remember me? Shoot. Dude, can we talk about pimping? I hate it.
Yeah, same. Pimping is something you'll hear from like all rotating medical students, and it's basically just when like the residents or the attendings just ask you a ton of questions on the spot about either something that's actually going on, like if you're in surgery, it's like, what is this? Or something related, or sometimes it's not related to anything. Unrelated.
I was in like days of burn surgery on my last rotation, and I got pimped on 80s music.
So
he's
random.
like, this is going in your eval, man. I was like, dude, you can assign me some homework. Like,
a lot of the time, you get the pimping questions wrong, and then they're like, read up on this tonight. Tell me about it tomorrow.
You create work from your own failure.
It's so bad. And the thing is, like, some of these things you probably know.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
But on the spot, just that pressure, you just forget everything.
Yeah.
You literally lose everything that's in your brain.
It's so classic. You'll know it 5 minutes before, you'll know it 5 minutes after, and you'll never know it like exactly
when they ask you.
I was in like a lap case, and lap is like laparoscopic. So the way you visualize things is pretty minimally invasive. You insert trocars into the patient's abdomen, and you visualize, right? You know what a lap case is.
Yeah.
And we were in a lap case, and it's really hard to look at the anatomy because it's like these fishbowl lenses, and like it's just really hard to get an idea of where you are, and like I've never seen these organs in real life before. The attending who's doing the pancreatectomy is looking at me and going, so like, do you know what these structures are? And word for word I go, respectfully, sir, I have no idea where we are. And like I can see like the liver, I can see the spleen, and I think he's like pointing to a big organ, and he goes, okay, like we're in the right upper quadrant, we're posterior to the liver, and I'm like, but this is the nature of pimping. And,
yeah.
And it's better to be candid and be honest. And one of the things that like was impressed upon me is, if you're gonna answer something, answer with confidence. Like, you can answer it right confidently, you can answer it wrong confidently, but if you guess, and if you're right or wrong, then they'll interpret it as a guess either way.
Look how big Chip has gotten. He's like gigantic compared to Chewy. Okay, so last week I was being pimped during, I think we were just doing like some sort of like exploratory laparotomy or something, and the attending just starts pimping me on causes of like acidosis, like anion gap acidosis. And I'm like, yes, perfect. There's this mnemonic that like helps you remember all the causes of high anion gap metabolic acidosis. And this is like a step one thing.
Yeah.
This is an Anki card I've seen for 2 years now.
Everybody has learned this at one point in their life.
And it's like, it's called mud piles.
Yeah.
So if you could remember mud piles and then remember what each letter in mud pile stands for, you can remember the causes. In the OR, I could not remember any of the causes. So we made it to the eye and mud piles, and basically he was trying to hint, you know, one of the causes, you know, that's eye is isoniazid. It's a drug used for the treatment of tuberculosis. And he was trying to hint like the answer to me. The attending was trying to give me the answer. And he goes, I'm from India and I have a cough, right? Trying to hint me like tuberculosis. And I go, oh, you're from India? What part of India are you from? So stupid. I felt so stupid. The resident looks at me and just like shakes their head, and the attending goes, don't try to change the subject. Like, you know, just like, no, I don't know why I would have thought.
Just broke.
Yeah,
Mine just broke.
I was like, oh, like he just telling me he's from India.
Another like really common pimping topic, at least like that I've been hit on, is like in internal medicine, you do a lot of physical exam stuff. We always hear about like pitting edema this and pitting edema that, but it's like really hard to appreciate because like if you have a standardized patient, you know, you're not going to see pitting edema unless they're
like on a healthy individual. yeah.
I'm doing rounds of my patients and we're seeing a consult in the ER. I lift their gown and I check out their legs and I was like, oh, they're swollen, but I can't really like, you know, get like a thumbprint in there. So I document no appreciable pitting edema. And the attending, he listens to my presentation and he goes, oh, interesting. They're a right-sided heart failure patient. Like, you know, they look like they're fluid overloaded. They're already on Lasix. Really, they're no pitting edema? Oh, he's like, okay, let's go see the patient. So we go and see the patient, and he's like, no pitting edema, really? So he lifts the gown, and just like takes down the sock by an inch, and literally like his legs look like the Michelin Man.
Who's the Michelin Man?
So for those of you who don't know who the Michelin Man is, this is the Michelin.
Oh my gosh.
His legs look like the Michelin Man because I had not bothered to take down his socks to reveal the indentation of 3+ pitting edema.
3+?
3+ pitting edema.
Oh
so
my god.
So edema is graded in scales. It's important to know your physical exam findings.
Yeah.
It's, I've also been pimped on what actually like a GCS is.
Okay.
Like, I can't just go in and say GCS 13 out of 15.
And then you'd be like,
what are the deficits?
Yeah, you'd be like, I don't know. He just looked like a 13 to me. Alright guys, so I hope you enjoyed some of our stories from our mess ups during our rotations. I kind of wanted to tell these stories because we feel like a lot of the content on YouTube regarding medical students on their rotations is very like, oh, I'm doing great. Yeah. I'm so smart. I'm such a good medical student.
But it's a lot of smiling through the pain.
Yes, it is a lot of messing up, especially on your rotations. That's like your time to mess up, but like it's better to mess up now and like learn like from all these mistakes and from these like failures than to be messing up, you know, one day as an attending. And this is why it's like practicing. Like this is like the beginning of us like practicing medicine and just making these mistakes so that one day, hopefully, we don't make them in the future. All right, if you guys want to hear more stories, let us know in the comment section below. But for now, thanks for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.